Well, hello. We did something very strange as a society. We kept the responsibility of adulthood and quietly removed the moment that makes it real, which means a lot of people now have the life without ever having crossed the threshold. Welcome to Firelight Dialogues. This is a podcast built on conversation, not confrontation. No debates, no shouting, no winning, just noticing things, sitting with them, turning them over, and seeing what falls out. My name is Pat Cansor, and around here, we operate on a few principles. They're simple. Take what you need and leave the rest. Live and let live. And if something doesn't make sense, ask, where is the life lesson in this? And today's question is deceptively simple. Why does adulthood feel, I don't know, slightly unfinished? Well, when I was younger, adulthood arrived, whether you invited it or not. It didn't text, didn't check your availability, it didn't ask how you were feeling about things. It knocked, it came in, it sat down, and then it handed you a bill or asked you to take out the garbage. These days, adulthood texts first. Hey, are you around sometime this week? And then it never does quite show up, which is unfortunate. We didn't abolish rites of passage because we got smarter. We abolished them because they were inconvenient. They required effort, discomfort, witnesses, and worst of all, they made expectations visible. But something's missing. Let's talk about what we kept. We still have birthdays, graduations, legal fine print, lots and lots of legal fine print, and a suspicious amount of paperwork. What we misplaced was the moment when the entire village leaned in and said, "Congratulations! Now I carry something heavy." That moment matters because it does something extremely specific. It removes negotiation. Now we do a version of that. It sounds kind of like, "Congratulations, you're 18. Good luck with those taxes." A real threshold doesn't measure time, it changes expectation. Without it, you don't stop growing, you just keep preparing. Now, why does that matter? If you remove the threshold, you don't remove adulthood. You remove clarity about it, which creates something new, a strange hybrid state. It creates people who are capable, functional, legally responsible, but internally they're still asking, wait a minute, am I in charge now? And the answer, unhelpfully, is, well, yes, uh, probably. Well, we think so. Without defined transitions, decisions get delayed. Commitments stay soft. Responsibility becomes optional in tone, not because people are weak, but because no one made the moment binding. Now, societies used to say, you are now responsible. We stopped saying it. Some people tried something very ambitious. They started saying it to themselves, which works about as well as you'd expect. Self declared responsibility is flexible, very flexible, conveniently flexible. But If no one else recognizes your transition, you can always renegotiate it. And people do, quietly, consistently, and most of the time indefinitely. Well, if responsibility stays optional long enough, unfortunately, it starts to feel theoretical. Now, if at any point during this you're thinking, wait, that actually explains something. Good. That means you're still awake, which these days puts you ahead of the majority of the population. Now, if you've got a thought, a disagreement, a story, or a refined complaint, put it down there in the comments. I read them, sometimes twice, occasionally with an adult beverage. If you prefer a quieter approach, email me at info@patsanswers.com. That's INFO at patsanswers.com. It's also where you can request the companion e-pamphlet for this episode, and as a matter of fact, for this entire special series. It's $3.99, PayPal, handled through the mail. It's the same ideas, just more organized, with fewer detours into metaphor. And yes, subscribe if you want, not because I'm needy, but because the algorithm is. Now, here's the part that people tend to miss. If you feel slightly behind, quietly uncertain, oddly unfinished, it may not be a personal failure. It may be a structural absence. The quiet truth is nobody rang the bell. And without the bell, everything still counts. But you just don't know when it started. A real threshold is not dramatic, it's binding. It changes. It changes what people expect of you, what you expect of yourself, and probably most importantly, what's no longer optional. Without that, life becomes a sequence of almost ready, almost certain, almost begun. So, if you've been waiting for a moment where things feel clear, final, real, you may be waiting for something that was never formally given to you, which raises a different question. What would make it real right now? Because if nothing changes, it isn't a threshold, it's a hallway. And the modern world is full of people living in hallways. It's like a charming architectural choice. So if you're still standing in the doorway, don't decorate it. Don't write a 5-part, 5-year plan for it. Step through, or at least move. You're blocking traffic.